And welcome to the Raw Preview. We are the Dudley Boys of What Culture. I'm Adam Wilbourn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to look ahead to tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review Raw, but also SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. We done about AW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week complete with a video quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to look ahead to Raw tonight and their Netflix debut.
Oh, it's on Netflix.
They should have said.
Yeah. The Fed.
Christmas Day's come, hasn't it?
It is like
bollocks what happened a few weeks ago.
I've opened the last window on my FedVent calendar, and it was the interior shots that they put up on Twitter this morning of all the the Raw graphics across those big screens they've got inside that fancy new building. I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
Are you watching it live?
I think I am. I woke up this morning feeling fine. Got Raw Netflix on my mind, and I was thinking, but it's still 1 till 4. 3 hours. I'm 5 years older than the Wednesday Night War era. We're all on our 30s fact, but that was 5 years ago.
Oh.
Made me ill. Made me physically ill. Not just NXT getting battered every week. The act of staying up made me physically ill. But I need... The thing is, I need to go to sleep at 8 o'clock in order to get back up at 1 to watch it, but I'm just going to be too excited. So how's that going to work? How's that going to work? I don't know. Logistically, it's a tough one.
Why don't you watch legitimately something pretty tedious?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Here's what I've done in the past.
I mean, I can't find anything on Netflix, Sidge.
Shut up. What I've done in the past is I have this thing where there's a bit of a diversion. I don't care. Where my body goes, right, 10 o'clock till 10 p.m. till 5 p.m. See you later. No, that's just it. Sometimes, though, I'll just wake up at 2 for whatever reason. I can't get back to sleep. So it's not 10 o'clock, buddy. You're out of luck. I once stuck on a Dory Funk Jr. match. Did the trick. Did the job.
There's a guy, I think I've told you about this before. It's just a podcast called Sleepy, and he's just got this incredibly bassy voice, and he just buys old books at charity shops and then reads them, and it's a podcast, and it's this is kind of amazing, actually. The story is so boring, and your voice is so deep. I'm gone.
How does he make money from that?
Well, because the retention is just going to keep playing. You don't physically switch it off, do you?
And I suppose you're sort of inceptioning people. I really want some Omaha steaks, actually, now I've woken up.
Yeah, a load of people want to switch their brains off at night time and can't, so he knows that he's got this captive audience, that Sidge says, and you're not going to put a sleep timer on it because you want it to just run, so people are listening to the whole thing.
So you're not going to physically go, I feel a bit tired, turn it off. You'll just involuntarily pass out. I'm not quite as excited as Hamflett, but I'm quite excited.
Yeah.
Bit of names, bit of star power. There's a match that I expect to be very, very good. There's a match I expect to be a total as well. But we'll get to that in due course.
Jay and Drew have all right chemistry.
Yes, it is the debut on Netflix.
A second did 2 shits on one night. Flicks. Net
I cannot wait, man.
Yes.
I cannot wait.
Intuit Dome, Inglewood, California. Not a sellout, worth noting. Still 29 tickets available out of the 16,689.
Such
29?
Such a dick.
28, as of probably now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? Like you say, you've
Don't
got
care. You're
world title matches, you've got CM Punk, Seth, you've got tribal combat. Should we start with John Cena?
Yeah.
His farewell tour begins tonight. How do you see this one playing out? Is he going to open the show?
I don't think so, but as you already know...
I know how it starts. I know that.
It's time to play the game! Time to play the game!
How does Raw on Netflix start? It's that big sort of deal. It's sort of we need to hook people. Who's the face of the, It's a pretty big segment. It's a pretty big segment. So I think it's worth playing this game and doing the guessing game, and we should come up with a prize for the winner. Here's how I think it's going to start. Okay. Welcome everybody. And then
welcome everybody to Monday Night Raw.
I don't think they're going to do the everyone comes into the arena thing. I think it's going to have a more bombastic start.
Okay.
I think that'll be next week. They'll go, and here comes CM Punk, and he's coming in to have his match with Seth Rollins.
Do you think it's Netflix you can skip intro? I don't want to watch people walking in.
So it's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. I think we're going to go crowd shot, some incredible angle or other. When it comes crashing down, so that's how it starts.
We all know the lyrics.
You all know the lyrics.
It's
Everyone
great
knows the
being back,
lyrics.
innit? It's great being back.
Yeah, everyone
Stop
knows
here.
the lyrics. And you know, so he comes down, "What you gonna do?" And I think he's going to come out, get the microphone, in one of those latter period Vince appearances where just, oh my God, this guy's coming back. And he says one line and then he's off. It's going to be one of those. He goes, "What you gonna do, brother, when Hulkamania and Raw on Netflix runs wild on you?" And get out of here, grandpa. That's how it's going to start.
Yeah, could see that actually.
Yeah.
How do you think it's going to start then?
Well, I suggested on a video that we just shot regarding things that need to happen that I could easily see meet the new Raw, same as the old Raw, just like you remember it. John Cena opening promo for 20 minutes to start the show.
Oh, yeah. Tribal Combat for me. Like, they've got 2 matches that will argue a place in the main event. There's potentially a good, and the biggest reason why this will go on last instead of first is the bad blood thing all over again.
Yeah.
Depending on where exactly The Rock fancies showing up. We don't know yet how Netflix will do ad breaks, commercials, whatever, how they're splitting things up. A match that could potentially feature The Rock at the end of it feels a good illustration of that, and it's a kind of best foot forward thing because Roman Reigns. And worse at the same time in Solo Sikoa, but a best foot forward in Roman Reigns, like being the first match on the first Raw of this massive new era. I don't like it, but I could see.
I don't like it either. I want to make it abundantly clear. I don't like it either. I'm just, what else can that idiot do?
Yeah.
If not say Raw on Netflix will run wild on you?
Yeah.
Yes, good point.
Like, what else could he do?
I could see.
Have a party with Ivory and Greg the Hammer Valentine or something. You know when they do those like weird backstage segments. Ivory, Greg the Hammer Valentine,
like our Netflix cups and stuff.
and like Rob Conway or something. I don't know.
Rob Conway.
all the gang.
All the gang,
all the stars.
all the friends.
I could see it'd be funny to have Gunther go for him like he does these days, like DX,
Yeah.
Goldberg, like, you disgusting old man, you repulse me. You're everything that I'm not. And then just chop him.
Oh, I suppose also I'm just in my head now just doing the Netflix. But you could do wrestling has more than one royal family because that does sort of work quite well with.
I like that as well.
And
Cody
Cody's
Rhodes,
Cody.
again, another sort of like best foot forward. Got so many best feet. That's the thing with WWE. Just don't know.
He's got so many feet.
Yeah, it's like Sidgwick sticks. They got 5 best feet.
I've got 5 dicks, man.
Netflix 5 dicks.
But let's start with John Cena, even if he might not open the show. It's the beginning of his farewell tour, and I suppose it's a chance for him to state his intentions for 2025.
Yeah, I really hope I'm not like barking up the wrong tree with Cena, and he does have this focus, for now at least, about winning the world title. He doesn't have to get it done. He could do. They might want to give him it for the record-breaking reign. I don't see why not, if you can make it make sense, whoever your champions are at the time, and it could potentially be like a massive WrestleMania match if the rumoured Cody one is the route they go down. But whether he wins that title or not, I want John Cena to feel like that's what he's here to do. You absolutely have the lasts that you promote all year long. The last Elimination Chamber, the last Royal Rumble match he's going to win, the last WrestleMania. Those are definite draws. They are. However, the John Cena character should want more than a last. I personally believe he is the one guy, we talked about this in the video, if anybody can make that feel like it's a prize to him, it's John Cena. Just turning up on a terrible 2013 Raw was a prize to John Cena. This is a man that could sell you on how happy he is to be here for 12 months. But I just don't want that as a fan. I don't want 12 months of Austin Theory adjacent builds and matches.
It got a bit Jericho-y, didn't it?
Yeah.
It got a bit Jericho-y.
Yeah, it did.
That last run where his sort of MO was to elevate young talent that he saw nothing in. So what the hell am I doing this for?
The best thing he did towards the end was when he made you scared you were going to lose Styles Nakamura. Remember when he was like, sorry, I don't care about your dream match. I care about being the champion at WrestleMania. And that was sort of, that's interesting. You care more than I thought you did. And I wouldn't mind that out of John Cena for this next. Like that and the IC title. I do want to see him complete the set. And I think I want him to win that record-breaking title. But I want him to want it as well.
Yeah.
I love your
Not as a
analogy
second
about
thought.
the action figure come-to-life wrestler.
Yeah.
But I'll buy into it before the bell rings. And then we'll see, I guess.
Just to expand on that, I believe that John Cena wrestles now in that last run with Solo Sikoa and like a SmackDown tag as well. he was always so clunky in his movements to begin with. And then for whatever, he was always like really broad with his body language. But like he seemed to be in a state of wonder that he got like tagged in.
Yeah. Him and Owens, wasn't it?
Like he looked like an action figure had just developed consciousness and was just like absolutely just in a state of wonderment at this world that he just entered for the first time. Or alternatively, he looked like he'd just the anesthesia was still kicking in. Like, you know when you come from those operations. Just my pants, Eric. You know that a tag what?
John Cena in his jorts on Netflix.
Shadood in his pants. Shadoodle.
But no, he should want it all. And winning the Rumble is, something he wants to do. It's his last Rumble, all that sort of stuff.
It was Jericho, like that weird Jericho character of I'm here to elevate young talent. No, that's the byproduct of what you should actually be doing, dickhead. Yeah. You've got it completely wrong. That was an element of John Cena's had. I suppose that's been a character trait of his for some time. Of someone's going to have to step up and replace the workhorse, and it's been successful, I guess. But it was just that was kind of the whole point. You never want to be like Chris Jericho.
No. Do you think there's a lot of matches we want to see from John in his last year? I don't know.
None. Hate him. I think he sucked.
Do you think there's a chance that not to
I
necessarily?
hate the idea. Sorry, I hate the idea of how we should all grow up now. John Cena, he ruled all along. No, he didn't. He sucked.
Yeah.
He sucked. I dare you to go back and watch like a weekly stretch of his TV, like for 2 weeks. It won't last 2 minutes, mate. It's the worst you've ever heard or seen.
It doesn't matter what happened at the previous pay-per-view. He's just smiley John Cena back once again.
He was the absolute worst. Stop being a goldfish.
He broke the mold so much, he made breaking the mold a bad thing.
Yes.
He was like, oh, you've ruined it for absolutely everybody else.
But we also know Logan Paul is set to return on this show. Could these two interact?
Yeah, you brought it up, and it does make sense. Cena having people targeting him in the Rumble for the claim of being able to say they eliminated John. They took away his last chance to main event WrestleMania, or whatever, however you want to phrase it. That's very Logan Paul. It's also a match that you could visualize as a WrestleMania match because it's got that sort of Hollywood, one's a film star now, and Logan Paul has kind of come into your world and has been better than you ever. That would be, how they could present it, I guess. It would be big, and it would be simultaneously one of the biggest matches a WrestleMania could promote, and something that you could easily hoy in the mid card and not make John Cena feel like he's fallen away from the main event. John Cena's back for, what is it? He's going to have like 50 dates, not necessarily 50 matches, but like 50. Like that's as good as full time in 2025 for a wrestler. He's back to do this, isn't he? So I would expect setting up Fueds and the way Triple H books. Like I want a bit like Punk that I always talk about, where he's having all the face-offs that you want to see just that one night. I want to see him and like maybe Punk and Cena tonight for the first time. Just have that little face-off backstage. They don't need to say anything. There's all of that history and all that chemistry, and maybe there's maybe this year, like Johnson, to Sidge's point about I don't want to see him wrestle at all, and your point of and there's a million dream matches. Entertain the idea of that tonight, like maybe try and sell one to someone like a Sidge who's just like, I don't want any of that. But then Cena and Gunther on screen together.
Take Cena on the Great Khali again.
So, yeah,
yes.
Like Bron Breakker's just backstage, looking class with his IC title over his shoulder, and they kind of exchange a look, and they kind of know what's happening here. There's the people he's got history with, and the people that he's never encountered, and a few of those might be quite interesting now that he's back. Present the idea that he's part of this, not just like a special, not a Hulk Hogan, not a special guest.
There's a World Championship match we need to talk about early days because Liv Morgan versus Ria Ripley has been going on for a long time. Obviously, this seems to be the culmination of it all with the spectre of Becky Lynch hanging over all of it.
Last woman standing is a good stipulation for this because it's hard to...
God, is it?
Well, it's hard to visualise...
No, is that what the match is?
Yeah. I'm not... The match quality was never going to be that great anyway, but from a booking point of view, it was hard to visualise Liv Morgan get into the WrestleMania build. Like when you fantasy booking your WrestleMania title matches, Becky Lynch is set to make a return, and that would make for a great WrestleMania rematch. So too would Charlotte Flair, and she's rumoured to return. I'd love to see them go again. Rhea Ripley is a world champion. Io Sky has been rumoured as a potential babyface challenger, whatever. Rhea Ripley is the champion going into WrestleMania season, just sets up a bunch of more interesting matches. both interesting sounding and more likely to be good on the night, with no disrespect intended to Liv Morgan there. She doesn't still really have the matches to have your fantasy booking a load of cool stuff for a WrestleMania. However, last woman standing means that she could win without Rhea getting pinned, which is their kind of like get out of jail for Rhea to then have to go on and win the Rumble, let's say, to get into a title match that way. And in the meantime, somebody takes the belt off Liv to make that big match. So it's not impossible that Liv wins. I think I'm leaning towards Rhea for this. Just get the belt on her. Restore a bit of order. Maybe this is when you start splintering off into like a slow build to Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. There's been people catching that like Raquel's sort of been glimpsing towards maybe having a bit of a thing for Dirty Dom and already kind of being a bit sick of Liv Morgan bossing around, but they're only in like sort of little tiny glimpses so far, so you've got time to build that if you want to. And yeah, Rhea Ripley, she is still this massive star and she almost doesn't wrestle. And you kind of want people to forget that around WrestleMania season. You want to sort of get hype for the big matches, and it's still she's still a big star to book those things around.
You think Becky Lynch shows up tonight?
Yeah, she does. I don't really care.
Last run was great.
It wasn't great. It was
very good.
NXT title run, It was very good.
Trish, great.
It's very good.
Liv Morgan match happened.
Yeah. So what is Becky Lynch's WrestleMania match then? Liv?
I don't know. I'd be interested to see.
I think they should go with Liv.
I could see it.
I think they should go with
Liv
Liv
for the belt.
Yeah.
Becky wins the belt off Liv at WrestleMania.
Yeah, they can do the switcheroo. They've got something with her. She's very, very popular. They've struggled to build female talent, even ones who are really skilled, which is, an indictment of Levesque as a booker. I think Rhea's made. Go with Liv, I think. I couldn't care less.
It is unpredictable. You're right.
The thing is, you've got, like you say, the dissolution slowly of the Judgment Day. That's all falling to pieces in 2025, without question.
They're getting beat off the Wyatts at WrestleMania, I reckon.
I like that as a shout. And then Becky. One of those three people, I don't know how they factor into WrestleMania. I say Liv, Rhea, Becky. If you're presuming that two of them are having a world title match, I don't know what the other one's doing. I think Rhea wins the title tonight. Possibly. Yeah.
I think she'll
literally just put the title on Tiffany Stratton on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So
Charlotte Flair there, and
you can always take it off for it to work.
She's the best. So why would you want to do that? It's incredible. Oh my god.
Tiff versus not Nia Jax at WrestleMania would be very good.
I don't think that's getting to Mania. I could see Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. I think that might be the match.
Yeah, I think that could be the match.
To SmackDown, at the moment at least, obviously transfer window notwithstanding, Andrade is on SmackDown. They do keep couples together now. So as much as you would think, Charlotte Flair might want to be a part of Netflix Raw, she might just want to be on the road with her husband. So you could see that. It's a good match for the kind of Charlotte Flair comes back, always wants to win titles. The character doesn't really care about your new favourite. And Tiffany Stratton is a lot of people's new favourite, so you could build quite a lot around that as well. Tiffany Stratton could say
It's Tiffy time. Your time is up.
Yes. She could say that.
God, I'd love that. I can't decide whether...
She was sick of one queen. She's not going to pay any respects to another.
I can't decide whether I want, Rhea to win because, Liv's about to cheat or Raquel's about to cheat or Judgment Day are about to cheat. And, oh, my God, here's Becky Lynch to even the odds for Rhea. Or Rhea just beats Liv and Liv's sat devastated in the ring. Can things get any worse? Oh, bollocks. Becky's back to kick my ass.
Yeah.
I can't decide what I want, but I do want Rhea Ripley to leave as champion, I think, tonight.
It's the stipulation, in addition to being awful, is a little bit interesting in terms of it feels like, I think you're onto something. It feels like it's designed to safeguard Rhea Ripley and the booking.
Let's talk Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. He showed up on SmackDown to give... Cody Rhodes a bit of a cuddle, but he's now back to killing everyone associated with the bloodline.
Yeah, I don't know. This doesn't feel like it fits on this show, to be honest. I don't think the match quality is going to be particularly high. Absolutely used Jey Uso on this card, but I wouldn't have used him in a match, truthfully. I like the Drew McIntyre working through the people that have wronged him list. I like that he could have been lying, but I like the idea that he doesn't include Cody as part of that. He's a SmackDown wrestler pretty much when the transfer window closes. That seems certain.
Yeah.
So he's kind of almost... It's quite nice, actually. He's potentially wrapping up his business on Raw with the very man that caused him to have this meltdown and run. So there is a nice bit of closing the loop there. I expect Drew McIntyre to win. I think they've gone quite strong with him. He could get screwed, I guess, but they've gone quite strong with him in following the Punk feud as like, he's got direction, he's got focus as a character, he's racking up the wins. He's trying to, I think, push back on this idea that when we're all booking our WrestleMania cards, are we really coming up with anything for Drew McIntyre? Not really. And he, I think, to be fair to him, through his work, is trying to deflect that a little bit and say, no, like, I should be in the conversation. My half of the CM Punk feud was real, and I did like up my game, and it wasn't just I'm in here with this top star and I get to be a star while I'm working with him. I'm the top star as well. I think positioning him with Cody was something last week. That will be, that's they've got Elimination Chamber, they've got Saturday Night's Main Event out, the Ace, the stuff that needs filling. I think like it's not a bad time to be Drew McIntyre, and I expect him to win here. You can beat Jey Uso as well. We've seen this. You can. It doesn't make any difference to his character. I'm thinking the Usos end up in a tag at WrestleMania. Everything feels focused on like I know there's like 5 of them. What are your WrestleMania cards and who's where? And as much as like I do think genuinely Jey Uso did kind of become a main eventer, as his name suggests, in 2024.
Upper mid-card Jey Uso.
Yeah.
That's
Do you know what? The one for me, the comparison for me was he held his own with Roman more than Roman held his own with The Rock.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think he was elevated by that last couple of months. But the tag match with Jimmy just feels more likely for WrestleMania. So I think he's a guy to beat at the moment. Drew's on this run. I think it's a bit damaging to beat a Drew McIntyre while he's in such form, again, having come back.
What would you say off the top of your head now? Uso's New Day?
That would be the one for me. Yeah, there's so much history there. You build it around a WrestleMania. Assuming that like Big E's not coming, some sort of miracle return or whatever. Like Uso's New Day was just tag wrestling that was no right to be as good as it was, considering the era it took place in, realistically. And
some really good story beats, memorable segments.
The Kofi Mania sacrifice meant something to people, like there's a lot there.
I think it deserves a nice little revisit under actual coherent booking.
Yeah.
I mean, it was such an over-delivery booking wise to begin with at the time. It would just be nice to... I think it deserves another chapter of that story, I think. And realistically, if you look at the tag ranks, there's nothing else going on. You're not going to ask for my thoughts on the prospective quality of Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso?
I was just about to, yeah.
Were you? All right, I think it's not going to be very good. I think Drew's going to win for all the reasons that Hamflett said. The match doesn't really interest me, nor does the future exploits of Drew McIntyre. He's got that thing where it's big-time season now. Punk has proven his value, and he's behaved himself like a good little boy. Cena's back. Cody's still Cody Rhodes. Roman. Drew McIntyre is very much in that bracket of if they missed it, who would miss him? I agree with Hamflett that he held up his end of the Punk feud admirably, but there was always one person out of the two that I was going to be interested in subsequent to that, and it was CM Punk, as much as I dislike him as a character. And I find it hard to care about Drew McIntyre. He's always had that problem. It doesn't really matter how hard he works. He's in that Rollins of you can do good work, but I just not that bothered about you. Just couldn't really care less.
I think Drew wins, obviously. Beats Jey Uso.
It's not your first name on the team sheet, is he?
But I think also that might...
on your bench.
But you want him in the squad.
You want him on your bench,
yeah.
If you saw him linked with a move away, you think, I don't know about that. You need the depth. You need the depth.
Yeah. That's what he is. He's depth. He's depth.
But you see him on the starting 11, you think, what's he doing on there? Really him?
Yeah. Oh. Is there an injury in training?
There's 3 points to win. Yeah, what we're doing with Drew?
I think you have Drew win, especially because of, I might as well talk about it now, because I think he's then going to be like, kind of see when he bumps into Seth, because Seth's losing to CM Punk, at least in my booking.
Yeah, the potential of Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre down the line as a unit, or it's been alluded to anyway, but it's from the really great War Games build and Seth Rollins holding firm on saying no to helping Roman, so thus becoming the only guy other than whoever's texted Drew hasn't fallen out with, which could have ended up being Seth. We think it's The Rock or Karrion Kross. I love that it could be one of those two men. That's really funny. But
Why isn't he advertised for this bloody show?
He needs to be backstage.
Yeah.
He'll be doing something. Maybe he can scream in Hogan's face. Ha!
I love him so much.
The best,
Hogan's
my
get the
favourite wrestler in WWE, I think, Karrion Kross.
Get the
The
hell
one who
out
gives
of
me the
here,
most joy. When I see, it's like joy.
Mox is the reason that he's in WWE, isn't he? I saw a clip of.
He's done something right, as opposed to nothing.
Big boot and a leg drop. How's that going to go if I break your legs? Get out of here. Hulk.
It's weird how much everyone hates John Moxley, but we'll get to that.
I'll get to that. Seth and Punk. It's like whoever wins, I don't care. I love it. I cannot wait for this match. And to be like, I want to sort of defend myself here a little bit. A year ago, like me and you were disagreeing on this, Sidge, but I was saying I think Seth has held up his end of it. I love their first face-to-face, and I think maybe I'm one of the only ones that thinks all the way through this I've liked Seth as much as I've liked Punk in terms of their verbal sparring and the reasons for the feud to exist. And it's like Seth Rollins, the babyface bootlicker, basically, and that's with Punk himself being an obvious bootlicker, but in the way that they've framed the characters in kayfabe and what they've done and why the hatred is real feeling and all that kind of stuff. I just like my own booking, I guess, of Seth winning, Punk winning the Rumble, and Seth feeling like his win was for naught, and that being what kind of like draws him back to Drew McIntyre and this idea of, look what's happened, Seth. You got the big win. I saw it with my own eyes on Netflix, and now he's the one pointing at the sign. I'm surprised Sam's not hanging off when he's pointing at the sign after the damage you did to me. And if that's going to inform Seth's heel turn, this idea that he's won this match, I won. How does he keep going away with
Talk about a Pepsi plunge. It's you's gone down the card.
this CM Punk in the people that hate him, and it's what's such a great character to have, just inspires daily fury. They get to work, he's here again. And Seth getting to work the day after the Rumble, which Punk has won, potentially, to get to punch his ticket to WrestleMania, main event, whatever, whoever it might be at this point. Then he doesn't need to worry, theoretically, about who he's going to be wrestling. He's got that shot. But the biggest show ever was the Netflix, and I fucking won that one, Phil. He's got that claim over him then. The flip side of that is who backstage, even with the promise of a Royal Rumble win, says to CM Punk, Seth's going over. What's your take on that, Phil? It's captivating for all of the reasons, kayfabe and otherwise.
I will be watching this match completely captive throughout the entire duration. I'm fascinated by it. Mostly stemming from the pretty real animosity that exists between both performers. I will say that last week's bid to fictionalize that, which was sort of probably the right way to do it, I thought was appalling. I thought they each talked a lot of complete and utter nonsense. Seth Rollins trying to claim that bootlicking monoliths is the way to start a revolution was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard a wrestler say, and think of the ground that covers.
He buys it, though.
I don't care.
Oh. I mean, that's a problem.
Of course.
I don't think there's anyone better to say those words than Seth Rollins.
He's an idiot.
Oh, yeah. But, he completely... We've debated this on the last Raw of the year.
Yeah, I'll debate it again, bro.
He doesn't...
so dumb. It's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard anyone say, and I can't possibly think of him as anything less than a complete geek.
Is it the second most stupidest thing after best wrestling on the planet, period, when he was promoting Stomping Grounds? This is who Seth Rollins is?
Yeah.
Third after most stupidest that you've just said right there.
Oh, good. That's very good.
Yeah.
That's most stupid.
It's most stupid.
That's good.
Let's get having jive with each other.
That's good listening from a list maker. That's good stuff.
I think the most stupidest thing, I just, you know what's pissing me off?
CM Punk, probably.
Yeah.
Never not.
No, honestly, right, well, I'm fun on the podcast. Yeah. You know, it's I understand that he's a worker and that he is portraying a character. I'm supposed to like this character, yeah? He's the baby face.
Yeah.
When he's in there with Drew McIntyre, he's kind of, I suppose, he's a baby face. If he has a match against a heel in the future, which he's kind of been doing tweener shades of grey stuff throughout the entire duration of his run, he has a match against a heel as a baby face. He's one who's going to get cheated, and I'm meant to feel sympathy for him. I'm meant to think he's cool. I'm meant to like this dude, correct?
Yeah.
He's talking a lot of nonsense, and I think some of it's really quite appalling. The insinuation last week that he would only return when the man of no moral fiber, Vince McMahon, had gone away was a joke. He returned to WWE when there was a very, very remote but not unrealistic chance of Vince McMahon coming back into the fold.
Yeah.
Because he was still there. He let slip to Ariel Helwani, ahead of WrestleMania last year, that he was very close to returning to WWE, in 2019? Before the AEW, or 2021, before the AEW. Why is he going on? Genuinely.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't get worked up by this. He's a worker portraying a character. But again, ... I am meant to like this guy. Why is he making out like he's this... I know what his gimmick is. His gimmick is, I'm the guy with good values.
Yeah.
And I'm the truth sayer in the corny world. Blah, blah, blah. It's been his whole thing his entire career. I'm the good guy. Why is he lying to my face about something quite egregious like this?
Do you know, I agree with you 100% on this, and it's not just for the reasons you outlined there. He did this once before, and it was an amazing...
It was to Drew, wasn't it?
To Drew. It was an amazing promo across the board, but that one line of...
He goes back to
who
that...
chose you? Who chose you? What he called
Which
himself,
man of great character?
Yeah,
I'm paraphrasing, but he has this way of saying Vince without saying it.
You're the chosen one. Which man chose you? That kind of thing. I think... So the thing I loved the most, I tweeted this, about the Seth and Punk thing, is that what Punk does, and there was an element of this, we all love the Kingston one, that's the all-timer, he's one of the best at making you forget that it's a turn-taking thing. Same as in the matches when you buy in the heat, right? But Punk will say things, and he's got some amazing lines, really well thought through, because he knows that that's going to be used against him, and likewise, he probably has a heavy hand in getting somebody else to say something that he can then fire back. And then everyone looks cool. That's the idea. If you're working together, everyone looks awesome because you've
just both looked like complete gotten to losers talking utter nonsense.
The best sort of version of any of this is where you've left a line out there where somebody can pick up a detail of that and then sort of volley it back. And I thought they were absolutely tremendous at that. When he brings up Vince, that's cheating because nobody can volley that back.
No one can volley it back.
No heel or
he
babyface.
He does not have a leg to stand on either.
He can't. Yeah, that's it. His argument. It's Punk anyway. So there's always things that you can pick at, and people do. But that's the one that I think I have to draw a line with because it's right. Well, yes, what you're saying is true, but that's every wrestler. You've just now what? In the live setting,
he's not exempt from that
Seth
either.
Rollins has suddenly got to shoulder that over the course of one witty reply. Nobody can do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely nobody. If he did that to Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns absolutely flipping the table in Gorilla backstage, and there's consequences possibly. Do you know, and who knows what gets said after the fact and things like that. But I actually agree with you on that.
Cut that out.
That's that one red button that you never press because there's so many other things doesn't I guess matter what we thought of whether or not it was effective. I thought it was a supremely effective go home promo as well. I was wanting to see
that
the fight
crowd was going banana for them.
As a main event segment, it felt really cool as a main event. This is the end of Raw. God, I wish it was next week. I felt like it was.
I know. I've got PDS. I once said that CM Punk could talk to me for 3 minutes about the Earth being flat, and I would probably come around to his way of thinking. It's reached a point now where that conviction in his voice is now, for me, and I would say for a lot of fans, not many that count realistically, the convictions now become sort of a curse of his now because I don't believe anything he says now because he says such demonstrable bollocks with such conviction in that voice of his. That's I can't believe anything he says now.
Just quickly on
I know he's a worker and I shouldn't get work and he's a carny and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
His gimmick is to be the guy who is not that.
Well, as usual with Punk, he's trying to do it all, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's trying to be the guy that is not that and then at the same time, not anymore. I'm here to make money. I want to be the Rock of the Rock this time. Oh, God, the real Rock's back.
Yeah.
But I want to,
I will say one thing. Away from that build, which I hate, in CM Punk's conviction, which I'm done. I'm done with that character as a babyface. The buy-in as a heel will be incredible from me. I can't wait to see it. But I feel like I've said that a million times. To talk specifically about the match, because there's actual meat on this in terms of I want to preview this as an analyst as opposed to Drew versus Jay, which is going to be some yeets, some heat. and finish.
Fans on their feet.
Yeah. Heat finish. I want Seth Rollins to show me something.
Got to kick his ass.
It's probably the worst day to say this, but I always make the comparison between Kenny and Seth. Where it's like, why do you like Seth when Kenny exists? Mm-hmm. Like, how could you possibly think this guy who he does a lot of the same moves because he wanted to get over in 2019 and 2017 as well? It's they're not in the same league. They're not playing the same sport.
You're allowed to say that there's levels between Kenny and Ospreay.
Yeah,
let alone Kenny and Seth. You know, like
you're not going to get much of the air out of Seth, but that's his version of. He does that in WWE, which is sensible and smart because not everyone does that, and it sets him apart. If you only watch WWE, you can get the buy-in of a Seth being that good. If you watch other things, you know he just ain't it. Seth couldn't even politic or didn't even have the mind to say, can I get a couple of shots in at WrestleMania before I'm Cody's Shield? Or can I get like a main event? He just doesn't have that dog in him to be a shark, a political operator. And I always think of him as a geek. And maybe that doesn't matter. What some guy who doesn't really lean towards WWE thinks of Seth Rollins being a bit of a geek in this world. And Punk has geeked him out as well in this build to Netflix and not WrestleMania. And what does Seth do? Gunther in a match that no one's that asked about, really, because he could just do it on Raw if you haven't already. If Seth has got anything about him tonight, knowing what we know about Punk, who can go the distance historically, but he can blow out of his arse. We've seen it more than once since 2021. If you've got anything approaching that 2015 demon in you before you got injured, I want Seth Rollins to run CM Punk ragged. A little bit of revenge. He's kind of shafted you out of this big WrestleMania match by allegedly some political maneuverings going on ahead of WrestleMania season.
Felt it around Survivor Series season, didn't it?
Indeed. Allegedly. If that is all true, and Seth is basically at a big main event, kind of taken from him through some political maneuver, blow him up. Yeah. Blow him up.
It's good storytelling in terms of I was here all along and you just took a 10-year gap, mate, and I lapped you, I surpassed you. You can tell that story physically, can't you? Like,
but I don't want him to think about the artistic. I want him to blow him up. I don't think he can anymore, but I'd like to say, it's like if you want to play dirty, make him look bad. Make him look bad. I think you're still enough of an athlete to maybe do that. We'll see.
Absolute fantasy booking.
He'll play nice because he's too much of a nice guy.
I don't think they're going to quite go to these lengths, but since I know you're dying to know, my attire choices for these men here would be Punk in black trunks, matte black stars and bars as like a sort of shield thing. Like, I open this entire door for you, mate.
Like
Seth
that a lot.
in like Young Bucks adjacent, wacky, colourful pants. Like
Frills.
like not quite plaid, but you know when the Young Bucks were like aping the early Hardies, kind of became a signature Young Bucks look.
What is the signature Young Bucks Lutch?
Lutch now, snooker player, but prior to 2020,
the vest off, brother.
They did the
Dynasty about goddamn time.
Yeah, I would. To me,
it's the vest. Maybe
to me, it's still like
they could do the Lakers colours.
Yeah, like
Lakers colours. Seth, this is a little nod
because it was
bandana. Just a little visual.
Yeah, because with Seth, obviously anything can be Seth freaking Rollins, but then you can kind of always tell, like, because he did it against Roman, he did the dusty stuff against Cody, remember the polka dots and that, so he's got form for like, my first blow is going to be landed the second you see me, and Punk hates getting interrupted by Seth Rollins and all of his majesty and that, so I'm seated.
Do a little pop for it, because no one cares in WWE, in the audience, but I'll have a little...
Punk wins?
Yeah. Seth Rollins is a geek. Punk's going to win.
The other thing about like Punk getting a rumble, well, you can win this year's, Phil, or if you want to save it, you can always win next year's. Huh? Or are you going to get injured in December again? Huh? Like
he has to do it
if he's going to be the top
if
guy.
If he's going to be the top guy, you're going to have to do it.
You're going to respect the business and all the goddamn money's made over there now, Phil.
It's called blood money. You're going to have to make it, kid.
Before we get to Roman and Solo, we mentioned Penta potentially showing up on our What Needs to Happen video that we shot earlier.
Yeah.
It's part of the memes have coming true, aren't they?
Well, yes and no, Sidge. I got a pitch for you.
Here he comes.
Yeah. New Day versus Ray and Penta.
That's stand up for WWE.
That's right. New Day versus Ray and Penta feels good to go. Yes. However, Penta gets a big debut, the big sort of thing, and then we're all like, here we go, Triple H. He's welcome to the LWO, Penta, just as we all feared. And Penta debuts with a bang and breaks Rey Mysterio's arm. Takes out the top babyface's arm immediately as a trophy. New Day steal an awful win, like a couple of bastards.
I love that.
And you're off to the races with the singles Penta run. I was itching for an AEW until Cody kind of killed it that week on Dynamite.
I love that. I don't think WWE is anywhere in the orbit of something that could even theoretically potentially be dangerous. All wins are good. A nice little win of we're going to subvert people's gentle, maybe encroaching criticisms of the product and the mid card and the lower card and like the representation and all the rest of it. A subversion of those criticisms, I don't think would do WWE any harm whatsoever.
I just want Penta to have like a singles run. What's that really look like on a mainstream North
2025? It's going to suck ass.
I know, but like
It's going to suck ass. What is it, 2019?
it's not the match company. So he's got this terrifying gimmick, like all gimmick at this point. But if you strip the Lucha Underground gimmick, knowing that you're not going to get the matches, but you're in the place where the matches matter least, I still think there's juice to squeeze out of that field of Penta.
But he was, because Penta had an aura, which is, I would say, maybe unrecoverable at this point.
Maybe.
And because he had that thing of, in Lucha Underground, and when he saw him like just do the indies and what have you, in that sort of mid to late 2010s, he's the kind of guy who looks like he's 10 foot tall. The mask, everything helps. The presentation, the aura. WWE, if he doesn't really get over, he looks like what he is, like 5'10", 5'11", I don't know.
Yeah.
He's not clearing 6 foot. I don't know. He's a bit washed, and I just can't see it personally. I think he's going to be a more than serviceable and more than over upper mid-card attraction in that. I said it as soon as the rumors started to intensify that, he's going to the Fed. Zero Miedo in this version of WWE with and all the rest of it, he's going to be really, really over. A dangerous aura guy, no chance whatsoever. Someone who does cool moves and is going to get over massively at a certain level.
Yeah.
At the LA Knight level, absolutely. But he's not going to be a guy to be feared or a guy who's going to be like headlining a SummerSlam or out like that.
You do need, because we've got a lot of big things happening on this show, but you want things for fans to look forward to going forward. So I could easily see him showing up, even if tonight's not the night, that he does something as dramatic as attacking Ray.
Yeah, it's not a conversation you have as much compared to what it used to be in when there was like a special Raw where you think, well, big night tonight and then it's back to normal next week. That's not WWE now, is it? Like, of course there will be, everything that's happening tonight is for next week and the week after and the Rumble and Saturday night's main event and all that sort of stuff. It's the go home week, I think, of like so you got Saturday night's main event, the last Raw, the Royal Rumble.
Oh, of course, there's on the 25th or whatever it is.
Yeah. They're never not building to something, but after tonight, which has been the thing they've had to build towards, it's not like the show's not going to have things that are, getting you ready for the Saturday night's main event and then the Rumble itself. So, it's like with Cody being advertised for this show. He's the first guy advertised for the Royal Rumble. Ladder match is set, so you theoretically don't need to do anything. But it's Cody Rhodes, your WWE champion. So he kind of has to. He can't look like a bit part player amongst all these others. He never has done ever. But you know what I mean? He can't be just this guy that's, and Cody's here. That's not how WWE operates anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to be seen in the role that they're in.
Do you think Tribal Combat main events? Because he said obviously Seth and Punk for him.
It's another interesting political battle.
There could be one man that's in neither of those matches that's already made that choice for WWE.
Oh my God.
Good man. I think the main events, yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about it then. What's the last thing left to talk about? Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa, the Ula Fala, the tribal chiefdom, all that sort of thing.
Are we done with the old idea of the title belt happening?
I hope so.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah.
It's a belt, so Rock gets two.
Likes his belts. I will say, and I've said this in the past, it bears repeating because it's the most relevant time to say it, the exposition is going to be appalling. One might argue necessary, because you can't remember, can you, mate? Yeah. The level of exposition, it's going to be understandable yet egregious.
Yeah.
I just want to put that out there. Like, be prepared for this. They call him the Second City Saint. He is the voice of the voiceless. If you like authority, tough titties. CM Punk doesn't, etc. Like, the most basic rundown of each character trait and story beat, etc. It's going to be pretty hideous for me.
Not for me. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Like this match will have an electric last minute and a half, and maybe that'll be enough. Like honestly, it's
Loud. I wouldn't say electric. Loud, certainly.
and potentially gripping because Roman Reigns should win this with ease. But is like the only
The
thing,
Rock does the hoodie thing.
yeah, it's the Rock. It's the Rock in a hoodie this time. Ibu
So it's like noticeable silhouette in the entire world.
who could that be? Oh, yeah. That's right.
Ibu of Wrestle Purist shout out reckons that or has mentioned that there could be the Rock firing Solo Sikoa should he lose. You know, that'll be what they kind of like how they start bringing all of that together because it's obviously Rock's new bloodline and Solo was always a bit of an avatar. The Paul Heyman thing on SmackDown, you know, red herring or red hanky.
Ooh.
Like,
I hate the idea that this stuff's high art. Oh my god, the foreshadowed.
Subtle.
he's turning eventually, doesn't he? This is the thing, he's turning sooner or later.
Yes.
So what if it's sooner? You know, what if it is tonight and somehow...
If you're Paul Heyman and you're meant to be so clever, why would you buy stock in Solo Sikoa now?
I know. The thing for me is...
It all falls down when you realise how much this guy is just a mid-carder.
Yeah, it's that wrestling thing, isn't it? Of being like,
It's time for the next
It's
story.
time for me to move on from you, the loser, wash Roman Reigns, record-setting world champion, beat everybody. It just doesn't stand up, does it?
Solo has pinned him. Then at War Games,
That's it, yeah.
But it could be more, I suppose it could be more of an allusion to the new bloodline rather than specifically Solo, i.e. Rock, or more importantly than all that, of course, Jacob Fatu.
Well, you know...
Who you would buy as like, well, he's the next
does
thing.
Heyman turn tonight?
Well, this is it, right? He could do. Sort of tease, obviously, that he's going to play a pivotal role potentially.
He's the Euler fella, isn't he, tonight?
Yeah, he's the holding the Euler fella.
Yeah,
it's the Paul Bearer holding the urn for Undertaker on Mankind. Euler fella, very good.
Thank you.
You deserve it.
Such an asshole.
So yeah, the idea is
Look at a
obviously
Merry Christmas.
Roman's, you know, got a man to stick around my neck and you know, like, if you smell,
Turns away like...
and so who knows? But it's hard to visualize Roman losing to Solo Sikoa here. But WWE have it's not a problem. They'll obviously have like a plan for this.
Never got any problems in the Fed, guys.
Not now, at least. Kenny Omega coming out in the Dome, more on this later, is the first point in about 2 years where I was like, is Fed under pressure? Like, I haven't felt that feeling for so long. And then he walks out and I was like, oh, there is one man that can maybe like sort of swing the pendulum. No, they will have a plan, but it is, you know, it's worth repeating. There is no purpose to the new bloodline if they have been soundly defeated by the old one. And they lost at War Games and Solo losing the Euler fella. There's not many places to go with the bloodline without any semblance of power or control or whatever you want to call it. Jacob Fatu's love for Solo, as brilliant as it is and how they've gotten that over, will run out, you know, once Solo has no power left to use. So if Roman wins, there's not a lot of, you know, road left for the new bloodline. So it's that's this time of year especially, like that's the one thing that Solo's got going for him. If he beats him, then at least Roman has this other purpose, I guess, between now and WrestleMania, or if The Rock helps Solo win in any way, then that's your Roman Rock inciting incident. If that's back on the table, it's so much is about what The Rock fancies ultimately.
You know, it's so interesting that even if The Rock just goes, I'll do Netflix,
Yeah.
but like, I don't know if I can do Mania. I don't know if I can do Mania. You'll get, ironically, the Hogan at WrestleMania 18 thing where it's like, it's class being over, isn't it? You'll go, yeah, I think I'm free in April, actually. So I think no matter, even if the plan's in his head right now, well, I'll just do Netflix, it's fine. It's class, isn't it?
It's good, this.
I think
I mean, I hate him, obviously, for the reasons everybody else does. Is that the only time that Hogan has had that sort of, I've seen a human being there, like a small human being who just loves it. Not working, you're not lying, these fantastical lies. That snapshot of WrestleMania 18 was like, oh, it's great.
And then because he's like this was what was magic about his work as much as anything, because he does not have a subtle pose in his body, he just immediately reverts to red and yellow and does every single pose in like a 10-second period.
yeah.
Oh.
Traps. They're like the eggshell in the cartoon when someone gets hit and like the egg comes out of their head.
Yeah.
So his traps do. Like, hey! And like,
That's 1986, is it? Cool.
I suppose Hogan could interfere in
Time is a flat
combat.
circle, isn't it? Like, wrestling didn't seem to want him. Plans were made. Hollywood has said no thanks. And he comes back to wrestling. It's like, oh, it's classy. That's The Rock.
Yeah.
2025.
Hey, now he's got his big A24 coming up, man.
Yeah. Doing the Smashing Machine, isn't he?
He's got Smashing Machine, Moana 2, Moana 3's coming up.
Yeah.
He's going to ride that franchise.
Can't wait.
Red 2.
Is that why he called it Red 1?
So you can just keep sequencing it.
The idea that people, oh my God. Oh, it's the worst.
like Smash Cuts years later. Red 7, they really started pulling it together, actually.
I think Roman beats Solo as much as there's been teasers, like you say, of Paul Heyman. I think that's going to just keep happening. And I think the end, I think the main event's obviously because I think the end is Paul Heyman. There's the Uda fella. Well, I guess everything's sorted. Who's the tribal chief now? And then obviously.
Oh my God.
But, so if he's coming to do that, is he going to work Roman or Cody at Mania if he does anything?
I think I still want Rock, Cody.
Your cock's coming off
Either
clean,
way, yeah. But I think
Either way, you don't have a dick.
either way, I'll
I'll lend you
dick.
I'll lend you one of my spare
It's
four.
been dead for 2 years.
My spare four.
I still
Not righty though. I've got to.
I still am hoping for
Rank from best to worst.
the thing on the Raw after WrestleMania being a Rumble ball or some allusion to I'm gonna, you screwed me out of it last year, but
Do you think The
this
Rock cares
year-
about continuity?
Yeah.
Is Cody still hotter than Roman as well?
Yes.
Yes.
I think so, yeah. This
You'll-
babyface run's been nice rather than great, I think, for Roman.
Yeah.
Been a bit of vindication for him, but you're not yet seeing him back at that.
Yeah.
Like, he's got to put himself back at the top of the card, hasn't he?
But then I don't know what Roman does. It's all so up in the air. It was so simple 24 hours ago when we didn't think The Rock was going to be showing up. And then I'm not sure if you've seen the Instagram post, but he's alluded quite a lot to his family and Samoa and heritage somewhat. If he's never mentioned that before, he had a bit of a PowerPoint presentation that he showed us all last year.
Even, like, as somebody that just wants this train, keep rolling. I love this. Like, this rock, like...
It's chaos, isn't it?
It's which win do you want? Like, do you want this of a card? Do you want this dub of a card?
In hell.
And regardless of which one it
Which
is,
million thing do you
regardless of the million things,
Mr.
that
Levesque can do.
well, and this is
About
it.
you, my lord.
The most
Magpie, you say that. You see Levesque every freaking day and say it.
the most stressed as a result of this is Paul Levesque.
Yeah.
Like, so it's always funny to me that, like, at their most powerful, Triple H and Shawn Michaels tried to basically get The Rock fired, or at least get him, like, down the card. And here we are, and it's the WrestleMania.
Do you think they
documentary all over
saw
again.
it, or do you think they're just assholes who did it to everyone?
I think Shawn Michaels was absolutely sick, bloody pig sick of his good friend Paul getting looked past. Austin took his spot, and Rock took his spot, and Foley took his spot. No, he didn't. He made him. And it's like, do you think there might be something to all these other people taking his spot, Sean? I think he got some rose-colored glasses there, mate. He's best job carrying your bags. Like, I think he just honestly, when he did have power, just assumed, it's Triple H's turn next because he's almost as good as me, isn't he? Isn't he? Right there. It's like, no. So yeah, I think it's still rooted in that, and the idea of Triple H being the one. I'm not stressed about this as a fan. I get to win.
Yeah.
Triple H is going to be stressed.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's got all these egos to manage, and then The Rock just he's going to turn up. He's going to turn up 15 minutes before it goes live with a bottle full of piss, throws it in Triple H's face. I think I'm in 6 segments. Pardon? Do something about it.
You go 4 hours, this. Yeah. If The Rock, what if he wants to just do a promo?
Aye, no time limits and all the rest of it, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
I'll still set my alarm for 5:20, and I'll just fast forward through the middling action that gets no response.
I think the runtime is on this one.
Dre and
Oh, I didn't even think.
Drew and Jay.
I think they'll
Go
try
3 tonight?
and stick to 3 as much as they can. But like you say, with some of the people involved, Cena promo, presumably Cody promo, one would assume as well.
Yep.
Whatever the hell Hulk Hogan does. Who
I
knows?
know what he's going to do, mate. He's going to say Raw on Netflix, WWE on Netflix. He's going to run wild on you, and then he's gone.
Let's hope.
Plug the Gorka documentary and get out there.
Yeah, the first crossover of the new era. Anyway, let us know your thoughts ahead of Raw tonight in the comments or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Well, actually, they can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
M. Sidgwick.
Follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. As I said, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. We'll be back later on today to review SmackDown and all the New Japan developments over the weekend. And of course, we will all be back tomorrow to review the debut of Raw on Netflix. But for now, it's been the Raw preview. My thanks to Hamflett, Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.